That's the everyday boosh.
It is entirely right that foreign national offenders should be deported from this country in accordance with the law.
Jeremy Corbyn. The government has learned absolutely nothing from the Windrush scandal. This cruel and callous government is trying to mislead the British people into thinking it's solely deporting foreign nationals who are guilty of murder, rape and other very serious offences. This is clearly not the case. Take the example of a young black boy who came to the UK aged 5 and is now being deported after serving time for a drugs offence. If there was a case of a young white boy with blonde hair who later dabbled in Class A drugs and conspired with a friend to beat up a journalist, would he deport that boy? Or is it, Mr. Speaker, is it one rule for young black boys from the Caribbean and another for white boys from the United States?
That just shows how racist it is, bro.
Yeah, but what's more mad about Boris Johnson and that, the hypocrisy and stuff? You know, with Brexit and everything, and he was down for all of this and Brexit, his kid was born in Germany or like somewhere in Europe, and his wife's not a British national. So if it wasn't for the EU, his kid would not have been made a citizen of England. And even though that's the what's going on, he's still it's agendas. It's like they don't even necessarily believe in what they're pushing. It's what these things are going to benefit them. Like what's his face?
And they're thinking about right now.
Yeah, like Nigel Farage. As soon as Brexit was done, he was seen partying with bare bankers. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not. He doesn't even necessarily believe in that we should leave the EU, but someone else has said it's beneficial for you if we do.
And bottom line is this country and all of the establishments are racist. That's it.
Yeah,
That's what we're built on. We're built upon racism. So
Imagine if
The
you
whole of
vote-
the West.
yeah,
Imagine if you voted Conservative and you're black. It's a bit mad.
It
isn't
happens though.
it happens a lot.
Yeah,
But
well,
those
And
people
now
that
they're
are
telling you
voting
this. That's mad still.
I know.
But it could be because like they're misinformed for whatever
Yeah.
reasons. It may not necessarily be because they're racist or whatever.
Nah.
People have their.
Yeah, no, because there's. I know.
I didn't, by the way. Just so
No.
that we're clear on that.
Yeah, it sounded like you were defending it.
No. But I just feel like people make decisions and they're
Yeah.
misinformed. I feel like that happens a lot.
100%.
Yeah.
I remember when David Cameron was running a few years back, and he used to wear like Converse and hoodies, and I actually had a conversation with someone. I was like, oh yeah, he's cool, man. I'll vote for him based on how he looked, and that was literally it. But as soon as it's why you need people like Stormzy to actually inform people, because no one's watching things like this. No one wants to watch the news. No one wants to.
Not our youngsters.
No,
definitely
exactly.
not.
Whereas,
Definitely
as much as people don't really like what Stormzy's doing, he's informing the youngsters about what's going on and
Yeah,
for them
but-
to make decisions.
Yeah, again with Stormzy, it's like the whole Raheem Sterling situation all over again. Is that no one had anything bad to say Stormzy until he spoke out.
No, exactly.
Before that, he was praised by the media and everything else.
Exactly.
Until he had something to say about them, and then all of a sudden, they dig up all of this dirt on him. It happens time and
But the
time
beautiful
again.
thing about that is
Can't
Stormzy's not
speak
afraid.
about what happened.
Yeah.
Stormzy's not afraid. He's just
Yeah,
gonna keep going
he's
because he
what
knows.
where he's in such a great position is that he doesn't need the media, and that's where it works for him. Unfortunately, with Sterling, he's still gonna make his money regardless. But in terms of personality, he needs the media. That's why he sort of fizzled out. Don't get me wrong, he's still doing his thing, but he can't say what he wants to say anymore because of how directly he's attacked. Whereas Stormzy he's in a better position where he can just say whatever
That's
he
what's
wants.
going to make the next few years quite interesting when people start getting in more positions like that, and with more influence and start talking more out about things.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where the world goes and the government patterns up once a few people that's born within the ages of social media know how to have a little influence over it, start getting into positions. And that's what I'm more interested to see, because right now it's like, especially when you get to a certain age, you just know this is all a template now. You just see this pattern over and over again. And now you get to this point and it's like, okay, we're here again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's gonna take a drastic change in generation and age group before you start seeing a real difference.
Half the people that voted like conservative, they're all gonna die out anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's all people. We have to wait for a certain generation to die out before.
Yeah, and then we're like, are we back in? Like, what are you not saying? Like, we down. Like,
I'll be here now.
yeah, like, shit.
So this is what I wanted to say 10 years ago. But you hear me? But it was too much of a generation that controls the times. Yeah. That's where we're at now, really. You just see it all the time, like you see. Like they say something and the reaction is like, man, that was mad ignorant. Even if that's not what you're thinking at the time, like, it's just mad. I just find that whole the House of Parliament thing
It's a
weird
joke.
anyway.
It's like school kids arguing, like literally. But then what you got to remember with politicians, and this is always a point I always make, is that when you're sort of not groomed to be a politician, but when you're spotted at a certain age and people push that agenda on you, it would be good if he was a politician. You're taught to argue and to like embarrass people. You're not taught how to run a country. You're taught how to argue. Like you go, like so. That's what they're all based on. I mean, it's crazy. Imagine us as like adults in any other environment, and I'm standing up and I've got a point to make, and I've got all of my people behind me going here, like. It just wouldn't go in any other walk of life, but in the House of Parliament.
We're taught that people like us can't be in the House of Parliament because it's so institutionalised that it's kind of like, regular people, no, you can't run to be an MP or whatever because it's just people who went to Eton and Harrow, but actually you can, but people don't even know that, do you know what I mean? So people have to kind of change the way that they're thinking because you're right, you could, if you really wanted to be, like how Kanye's doing it in America, you can run and be a politician, but you also don't want to be a part of that stupid.
Yeah, that's what, because I when I got to like
to change.
16, 17, a lot of people were saying, oh, you'd make a dope politician. I'm like, yeah, but I wouldn't because I couldn't talk to these people and act like everything's normal while they're saying this crazy shit in my face. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be able to pretend that I'm not fuming with you.
That's almost like having that different hat on. You know, when you go to work, you're one person. When you're at home, you're one person. It's hard to be like that in any kind of workplace. And it'd be even worse if we were in the House of Parliament because
you'd go in with the intention. That once you're in there,
you have to play the game.
So I had a teacher all the way. She was my tutor all the way through school, and she was the sickest tutor. Like she had legit fights with other teachers over us getting like undeserved detentions. When we were leaving, she was like, I'm finished being a teacher. I want to be a policeman now. And we were like, yo, this ain't for you. And she was saying, no. She was like, don't worry. I know what they're like, but that's part of why I want to be one because I want to make a difference. And we're like, we hear you. But you don't get it how we get it. Like if you're being harassed how we're being harassed, you'd understand it more. She did it for like a half a year to a year. Went back to South Africa. She was like, "Fuck this." Like,
I was gonna say, you know use that as an example. Police, nurses, like you gotta be a certain person in a certain way inclined to do certain things. But then, to be honest, I think you could be a politician. But I was saying there's rules to be one.
Yeah, I wouldn't get the spotlight that they get.
You've got to be ruthless. That's something.
And you got to be 100% focused. There cannot be anything else. If that's where you want to go, with anything, if that's where you want to go, you have to focus on that one thing.
Yeah. It's all power players, man. It's not really.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so even saying that, because the Houses of Parliament has their own bar.
Right.
So these men will argue with each other and then go have a drink up after the argument. Like that was jokes. Did you see the camera on me when I was shouting at you? Yeah. Like so, it's crazy. Like, they all grew up together. They all went eating. Like, do you know what I mean? They all known each other from young. So it's
Jeremy's one of them as well. Probably laughing as well in the bar.
Yeah, 100%.
He's not
like,
for us.
But again, like you were saying with David Cameron, when Jeremy Corbyn was doing his speeches and Glastonbury, people were singing his name, I was like, he might be different.
But he knows what he's doing, and they all know how to play this.
Do you know what it was? He might have been, but he's definitely been. If he was different to begin with, he's been seduced now. Do you know what I mean? Like he lost his backbone. All of a sudden, when we needed him to be coming and saying the things he was saying 2 years ago, he was silent.
Exactly.
So it just happens to the best of them. But
do you not think we'll ever get like a person like a rebel that will just create a following that will have like a mass influence?
Possibly.
Version of something.
I think this next generation are ruthless, and I think they will be the ones to change it.
These youngsters that are coming up now, they're not standing for the bullshit. That we will moan about it, but do we do anything about it? Like they're more. I just feel like they're more willing to sort of take action.
Yeah, because I feel like the senior generation I'm in now, like see how we got the mad rebels as well. Like there's definitely someone in my generation that's smart enough.
Yeah.
Got that attitude to get into the House of Parliament and then speak for the younger people like me and other people
You could do it.
as well. I could do it, but
No, but
It's the same boat. He doesn't want to be friends with these man.
No, I just don't want to be in that boat.
We'll be on the bench behind you, like,
I like the support, but it's more or less, I don't like the.
But it's playing the game.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
knowing how
and that's-
to play
but that's
the game. As you
again
say,
why it's so
wearing
different.
the different hats, it's just knowing how to
Yeah,
play the game.
because there is peak. There will be things that you're not necessarily on board with, but you know you'll have to do. Like you'll have to make decisions. Like even your followers not gonna like, but that's just the name of the game. Once you suck that up,
Yeah, just tell your people this is what I'm really, really doing. But then when you're that thing, just say, look, yeah, we're doing this. So you can make it work.
So would you say Jeremy Corbyn, was saying that because it's politically correct to say that?
Yeah.
Someone has to stand up for the Caribbean community.
I think
Like,
he
so
genuinely
that would
believes.
he
I
say
don't
it
think he
because-
believes it. I do, but
Yeah.
he's also got that Labour following who are the Caribbean community. Like, well,
If
majority
if you're
represented.
following someone,
Yeah.
that's you to follow.
You have to say the right things. So, and he's definitely saying the right things. I do think he believes it, and he's also right. But like you said, they're all
Yeah,
in with
I
each
think the
other.
others believe it.
Yeah.
But that's not their agenda.
Yeah.
What, the
And someone has to
Conservatives,
be
like
the
Boris
devil.
Yeah, I
Johnson?
think they believe that,
He's
but that's
still
not their
racist.
agenda. They know what. Yeah, but they know what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah,
They
of
just
course.
don't care. They just, do you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Because
They
it
don't
benefits
Yeah,
them.
there's got to be.
Yeah, do you know what I
that's
mean?
That's
So,
what
but
makes it so big.
even saying that like the whole Windrush, like we were saying, the legacy. This is the legacy of a previous government that have dropped this on this, and all over again, it's conservatives defending
not
the actions
necessarily.
of the past conservatives.
Theresa May was part of the cabinet that did the whole Windrush. She was the one that said deport them, and then acted like she didn't even know what was going on. Boris Johnson was a part of it. They're all a part of it.
But
they
but
all
this-
know what's going on, but
Yeah.
then they want to be like, oh no, it's all a blame game. It's all a blame game.
Yeah, that's what it is. Even with Tony Blair, he's balling now because he was the scapegoat. He was like, "Yeah, I'll take us into war. How much you gonna pay me to be the bad guy?" And that's what these like. Donald Trump, the reason he exists now is so that 10 years down the line, when America's gone to shit, they can be like, "Oh, it's Donald Trump's fault."
It's true.
You know what's crazy is how quickly as well these things just get pushed through, and it's like, oh shit, that was easy. It seemed like it was just so easy for them to do. It's like there was no one on the opposite side that was like, you didn't have to, it didn't feel like you had to go for a court battle or something. Didn't feel like we had any representatives to explain it side why this is so wrong. Like it's like, okay, we got an agenda, let's start pushing that through.
Allowed them to conduct themselves in this way. Like, that's all it is. We've just said, you lot crack on and do what you're doing, and we'll sit here and debate and moan about it. But they're going to do what they're going to do at the end of the day. So,
because I think people kind of know, don't they? Sorry to cut you that if they do complain about it or do something about it, you can only go so far. There's kind of like a ceiling.
Yeah.
You know, the media is powerful. The government know exactly what to do to shut you down.
I feel like the people are more powerful.
100%. But the people
that's
don't know
what
that.
I feel. But
I
that's
think
what
it's
it is.
growing as well. I think we're getting more and more powerful.
That's what
But they're also on the ball. They know that we're
It's
so
like
when we move position, then they step up their game as well. So.
I always use the internet as an example of that. Every time we clock away around the system, it lasts for like a year, 2 years, and then they're like, "Pow, that's done now." So we're like, "All right, where's the next avenue for us to expose?"
Follow a young rebel, though.
You think it's a young rebel that's going to do it, but they're young people are just getting dumber and dumber.
It to some extent, but like so.
I think so.
I think people are scared.
It's a thing where
I've seen it on the road, like the man them are dumb. Like,
No, it's not that because like if you see someone like me on road like dressed in black, people are gonna be like, oh, he ain't doing nothing. But look at me now, I'm doing something else.
yeah, I respect that, but there's it's like one in a few
perception.
people. Like,
I hear that.
I've seen it for myself, so that's why my standpoint is.
Yeah, I reckon there's a couple. What I think is gonna equip people though is there's so much more knowledge to get, and it's so much easier to get. So it's just gonna take a few people to slip through and say, you know what, let me Google this, let me YouTube this. I always think about that with like revision. You imagine revising, for example.
Yeah,
like,
with a fucking live.
Fuck a library. But yeah, so like with that being said, like it's just gonna take a few people that's gonna be like, you know what, let me take a little time out and boom, 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 and it's there to be done. So I think regardless of if it's felt like there are smart enough or not smart enough people to do it now, there's scope for you to learn and scope for it to be done. I reckon that's
definitely.
Yeah. So,
And also, I always make this point as well with revolutions that every corrupt government there's ever been has been overthrown eventually. What's different now is that all of the governments are connected. So the revolution would have to be across multiple countries. But every revolution has taken a certain amount of years from when they first had the idea to when it kicked off. And because we're dealing with a bigger threat, it will take longer to happen. Yeah. But I think it's inevitable. You can only last a certain amount of time. And what's different again with this time is the percentage of the people running it is a lot smaller compared to all these other revolutions. So it's reaching a boiling point where eventually they will have no choice.
But they got like
but either to give in or us be like, all right, we're done with you. Like, it will have to get to that point. Because there's only a certain amount of people you can bring into your loop on your hierarchy before it gets diluted. Do you know what I mean? And it's at that point, so inevitably it will happen.
You see, like when we were saying, like you kind of have to be kind of in that play already, go to them schools, be born into that. Do you think there's also someone in there that sees all this bullshit and is born into that and doesn't agree with none of it?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
But do you reckon they'll be able to? Do you reckon that would be more cause for change or someone outside?
No, they wipe them out. That's what they do.
Exactly.
They just take them out.
Yeah, they'll be dead before they say.
But that person who sees that stuff is probably exposed to a lot more than people who from
they're
schools
in it, so they see what's really going on behind the scenes. They just wipe them out.
Yeah, but then at the same time, they also see the people that have gone against them and what's happened to them because they know that firsthand as well. So that's like if you look at Hillary Clinton, every enemy she's ever had is dead now. Like, it's mad that no one's speaking about it. Like, look it up. Look at all the people that supposed her. They're dead. Like, they're dead. Anyone that went against her is dead. Like,
what's come of that? Nothing.
That's what I mean.
Nothing.
So that's the power that these people have. So not only like we're saying, does that person that's seen this, they've seen the bad shit and they're like, we want to change it. They're also seeing, I've seen what's happened to the man that have tried to change it. Like, that's why I think that I don't know if the whole Prince Harry thing is real, but if it is real, he's one of our very good chances of him changing it. If he is actually saying, fuck you man, you killed my mum, if that really is what's happening, he's probably our best asset at the moment. But it's again, whether that's true or not. Because he seems like, I was saying, because he's a little bit older than me. I was growing up thinking, I hope that you realise one day what they did to your mum and you're like, fuck these man.
Who knows?
Like,
Yes.
so,
And
did you see that interview where he basically said it without saying it? That I have to protect my family because of the history. And it's like, bro, like,
that's bold.
even why I then thought after seeing that it's real is because the royal family wouldn't let that happen, even if it was a distraction. They wouldn't let him say that.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm thinking. It's probably got a few little things in there.
And you can't kill Prince Harry off. That's the difference.
He's got a bit further with it than.
Yeah, if Prince Harry dies under any circumstances, the first thing is they killed him.
Yeah.
That's what's different with him. Is with Diana, it's like do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? And there's been a few other people where you're like, I think they killed him, but it's not definitive proof. But if Harry dies,
would that be enough
it's definitive
for
proof.
the people to then come together and be like, right, we're not standing for this no more?
I think I have a feeling that it would. I mean, I know that we didn't get anything constructive done. Look what happened with Mark Duggan. Like, something that pisses us off enough makes an impact. Like, they had to heed us and they had to listen. That was one of the only times in my lifetime where the government and police were like, alright, maybe we fucked up. Like, not that they believed it, but they realised that, oh shit. Do you know what I mean? Oh shit, we can't do that anymore. That's my point. I know they still thought, we don't care that he's dead. But what they did care about is that we looted the fuck out of the whole country. So that made an impact on their economy.
But that wasn't the right
it was.
thing
Like
to
I'm
do.
saying, it wasn't constructive. Don't get me wrong, but.
Do you
Do
know
you know what I mean? No, do you know what? I wasn't actually part of it. I tried to do it. I went to Fulham, North End Road. Nothing happened. Like, what's so embarrassing? Yeah, this is where. It went off in Clapham Junction, just over the bridge as well. So. Well, I went down North End Road, and this is so embarrassing for Fulham, Apologies to my Fulhamites, but went down North End Road and we were gassed because there was like 20 man on every corner, We're like, it's happening. It's going off.
No,
One Fed van came down, everyone scattered. God damn it, guy. It almost like the Fed knew, we just have to drive down there and they'll go.
Show presents.
No, that was deep. That hurt my feelings. I went home depressed, literally.
No TVs, nothing.
Yeah, well, we had a Foot Locker. That was what we were going to do. Shit.
Yeah, but I was speaking with someone whose children were like sitting watching all of the riots that was going on at the time, and they got like a random text on their phone saying, "Oh, this gang is against this gang," and it was just so out of the blue, which then just shows you that. Well, for me, when they said that, like the police were involved as well with like instigating.
Yeah, there was definitely times where they stood by and watched it happen, but it's so that they could then impose laws on top of it.
Yeah.
And that's where we like you were saying with they're always one step ahead. Like even when they take a loss, they're like, how can we take this back? Yeah. Exactly. But my point is like I'm saying, I think the whole Mark Duggan thing was like, it wasn't constructive at all. But my point is that a trigger, a trigger can show that we're like, fuck that. Do you know what I mean? That was one man, no one knew him other than Tottenham. But everyone saw the pain that Tottenham went through and were like,
But then now there needs to be a reaction that's a positive one, and that actually brings about change, because we're just all associated, no matter who we are, where we come from, we're associated with that, the violence, we're associated with negative reactions and things, and at the end of the day, if there isn't a positive reaction to this kind of stuff, we're always going to have a black mark against our names.
Just to drag it back to the government. Yes. Is there anything that Boris has ever said that you don't agree with?
Plenty.
There was a time when I thought he was comical, but I didn't take him seriously. Do you know what I mean? But now that he's actually in real power, you're like, shit, how did this happen?
It's scary. It's quite scary.
Remember that time?
That's
2012 Olympics.
To be honest, that's all I know.
And at the Olympics when he went across the
and got stuck. That's our Prime Minister. That's our Prime Minister. That's crazy. Might as well put Mr. Blobby up there.
We've allowed this person to come in.
Man gave us bikes. Made us big.
To me, even back then with the bikes, it didn't make sense. Like, why? He was mayor at the time, right? So why does our mayor need to ride the bike to the office? Can't you, with a driver, you'll be getting more stuff done if you've got your laptop with you?
It was so forced.
But why are you on the bike? To me, that's not what my mayor should be doing. And now he's prime minister.
It's
but then,
scary.
saying that, one of the first things that triggered me off about Jeremy Corbyn, where I started to doubt him when there was all these pictures of him taking the tube. And I was like, you've obviously done that for photo opportunity. Because if it was a regular basis, no one would be taking pictures of you.
Photos of you.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, from way back. Like, so why all of a sudden have you decided to take the train? Like, so yeah, it happens all the time.
He said that thing about Muslim women, didn't he? That they look like letterboxes or something.
Yes.
Boris Johnson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I mean. The guy says something.
He says something. The thing is with him, he's funny, right? People kind of like take it, but now he's in power.
Goes, oh,
that's
so
really
do you feel like we were just sort of bamboozled into?
Yeah, because he was genuinely funny. Like I used to laugh at him.
Was
like
it one of the best? Was it one of the best game plans?
I think it's all
Maybe.
of it.
Because no one's taking him serious. No one wasn't in a serious enough position for us to be like, actually.
He didn't even want to be prime minister one day. He said it himself.
You know what Boris reminds me of? Joey Essex. No, real talk. Like they're perceived to be as like mad dumb, but I think they got like the best team.
There's a saying.
Like,
we all know it. Play dumb, catch wise.
Yeah, it works, man. Joey Essex is a G. I'm like, the shit I hear about him, and then when I see him on Celebrity Juice, I'm like, nah, man, you a smart dumb.
He is.
But then these people play to it. Look at that Katie Hopkins woman.
Oh my god.
She deliberately pisses people off so that she stays relevant.
Yeah, she knows she got
like,
shred.
yeah, 100%. Half of the shit she says, she doesn't believe. She knows she's an idiot. Do you know what I mean? She knows the things that she's saying are stupid. Like, there's no, do you know what I mean? There's no intelligence behind anything that she says, but she knows it will trigger man. So she's gonna say it. Like, yeah. But with the whole Boris Johnson thing, does it not scare you and think how much of a little brother we are to America?
It's very scary.
Yeah.
It's always been
So
like that.
Now all of a sudden, like I knew he was
always been
racist,
like
but the agenda wasn't initially racism. Now he's in power. He's like, alright, Let me kick my shit off.
Well, since I was young, I was always told when America sneezes, England catches the cold.
100%. It's always been like that. Even looking back, like they they were allies in the war. They were the first ones to be backing each other. And as like silly as it might sound, it's scary that they actually look alike. Trump and Boris. The only thing Boris is not orange.
And they said, you know what's scary about it? Donald Trump is not actually that smart. He's quite stupid. But what's scary about Boris is he's clever. So what he's doing is under the radar. He will do it under the radar. While Donald Trump's on Twitter, he's basically telling everyone, "Oh, look at me, I'm so stupid." Exactly. When Boris Johnson's not doing that, he's not going to do that. Who, Boris Johnson?
Yeah, I got him on Snap.
You've got him on Snap.
I mean, I don't watch it, but I just have him on Snap.
No. Have you seen it?
You man is rolling.
What's the last thing you posted?
I think not at the beach. He was doing something.
See what I mean?
Probably something economical. I don't know.
Oh,
you know.
I don't
He's
even
definitely
know.
on Snapchat.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not super surprised.
worry.
We are in a world where, like, you might as well be on Snap. Like, you must get like crazy views when you think about it. If he's actually snapping behind the scenes, like when he's in the cab on the way to number 10, see this man walk through. You know when you do the walk throughs and that, like, you man.
Yeah, for real.
No, man's got content. He's got reasonable content.
And he's got a good sense, like he has got a sense of humour, so he knows how to play the game well.
But that's the distraction,
Exactly.
and it's worrying. It is worrying that this is what's going on. But I don't know. Maybe this is what is gonna bring people together, because I don't feel like we're gonna stand for bullshit.
That's
I really don't feel like we're gonna stand for it.
It's been like this for how long, man? I don't see.
I know, but it's gonna get to a
No,
breaking
this generation.
point.
This generation, I'm telling you.
But I think if
My
things
mum
like
don't stand for bullshit. She
Leave
just
it
does
as
not
mine.
have it, and these are the people that are. That's the next
they're
generation.
all mad because they couldn't vote. So when they get to vote, they're gonna really like look into the manifestos and all of that kind of stuff.
Like they're not gonna stand for it.
It's definitely gonna be a while before it goes to how we want it, but changes will be like it
Yeah.
will be
I think it's
a bit.
happening
Things will
already.
be less receptive so easily.
Like,
it
you
will
feel
take.
like people are so willing to go to war.
So
What for?
like,
Fuck, who are these people? Like, why am I going into war? Like, I don't
we'll
understand.
get to a point where people
No one's not gonna
totally
stand
understand
for
it. Like that's
People
wild.
are not standing for it.
Like it's not like how it is in the States where man have to go to get this benefit and that benefit. Like people will start picking.
Yeah, it's a weird setup over there. Like every state's like a country in itself.
Crazy. I've spoken to a couple of people in it, and like when you actually talk to a person, it makes perfect sense. But it's just crazy the way the setup is. But it makes sense to why they do it.
You know about the how you know states where weed is legal to sell here? Do you know how it works? So it's a federal offence.
Yeah.
But in your state, it's not.
So you can actually get this. You can actually get shut down.
But you're not, but sort of. So you're not allowed to put that money into the bank. So they have to take cash, and it's like it's a big big thing now. That so basically what all of the weed dispensaries do is they take that cash, they buy a house and sell it for the exact same price that they bought it for immediately, and then now that's their second business. Their second business is legit, and they're like,
that's crazy. But
we sell property.
There was one shop that kept getting shut down all the time, like federal, because it's illegal in the state. You can open back up, but you're gonna get shut down. It's just crazy.
So you must be playing like the game where you're like, let me not make too much money. Sit below the parapet.